Welcome to the stream. Let me know your questions, dilemmas, or 50-50 decisions ahead of the next deadline. I've already made a transfer, sold Mbumo to bring in Murphy, another double game week player for my team. So now I'm tripled up on both Crystal Palace and Newcastle. Really excited for the game. Man City against Crystal Palace. And Marmouche as well, of course. Esse is kind of a differential. While I know that there will be a lot of FPL managers with Mateta captain, so he will not be above 100% effective ownership, so I will still celebrate if Mateta scores against Man City. Guardiola will be on my bench. Jared Bowen as well. So a strong bench. Could actually bench boosted this game week, but I don't really fancy Areola against Liverpool away. So next week I have Areola playing against Southampton, so double game week 33 will definitely be the game week for me to use my bench boost. Triple captain is active, Alexander Isak. I know that both Man United and Crystal Palace have been solid recently, but if we take a look at the bookies' predictions ahead of double game week 32, it makes sense to give the captain's armband to Alexander Isak. He has been given 68% chance of getting a goal in one of those games, so hopefully he can, and I'm really hoping that Newcastle can get a penalty as well. We know Alexander Isak is on penalties for Newcastle, so I think he'll start. I think Newcastle can do well. So I'm actually really excited ahead of double game week 32. Not really sure what's going on with my computer at the moment. It tells me I keep getting disconnected from OBS. Makes sense. I really like this logic. Makes sense. I really like this logic. Don't have a Newcastle defender, but if you don't have a Newcastle defender, I would definitely play Bruno Fernandes this game week. Hello, Charlie. Thanks for joining in. Not sure what's wrong with the connection, guys. Keep getting this message from YouTube that they are not receiving enough data or enough video to maintain the stream, but hopefully this will be sorted. The deadline is in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Best goalkeeper and defender for bench boost for Brugge Martinez. Kind of depends which game week you're using your bench boost. I think if it's in game week 32, I definitely like for Brugge. Brighton, they are second when we consider the bookies' predicted clean sheets. Brighton against Leicester with 49% chance of keeping a clean sheet. So for Brugge, definitely a decent choice this game week. But next game week, Aston Villa have a double game week. So for Brugge this game week, Martinez next game week. I really like Estepinian as well. Estepinian is quite similar to Munoz. We know that he is really attacking, taking shots. I know that he hasn't been that good this season compared to last year, but I think that getting Estepinian in is a really good transfer. Lucas, hello. Would you start Saliba, Williams, or Guardiola? Saka or Rodgers? I know that a lot of managers are benching Saka this game week. He might be rested. I would probably start Rodgers. The thing with my team is that I have Jared Bowen on my bench, but I'm not really positive when it comes to Jared Bowen and West Ham's chances against Liverpool. So I'm benching Jared Bowen, starting Saka, but if I had Rodgers, I would probably start Rodgers. Is it too risky to double up on Estepinian and for Brugge? Kind of depends what position you're in. If you're chasing, I think that taking a risk with a double Brighton defense could be golden this game week. Big differential. So I think that it makes sense to take some risks in the run-in. But if you're on top of your mini leagues and if you have a decent rank, I would probably spread the risk a bit by going for one of them. Hey bro, are we back? Hopefully. Orange Apple, hopefully we're back. Let me know if the connection is better. Who would you start of Milenkovic, Saliba, Guardiola? I would definitely bench Guardiola, especially if you have a Crystal Palace attacker. So Guardiola on the bench, Milenkovic or Saliba. I think probably Saliba. Arsenal, really good defense, and Saliba is the main man on set pieces for Arsenal now with Gabriel out. So I would start Saliba and Milenkovic. Saliba would be first priority, and Guardiola on the bench. Juntao, morning mate. 2 decisions: start Guardiola or Konsa, start Saka or Rogers. Tough decisions. It's really, really close. I would bench Guardiola if we have Crystal Palace attackers, as mentioned. I know a lot of us already have Mateta and maybe Sar or even SA, so it makes sense to bench Guardiola this game week. And last couple of game weeks, Guardiola hasn't been that attacking as well, so I think that the chances for an attacking return from Guardiola are kind of limited in the way that Man City are lining up at the moment, with Guardiola playing a bit more defensively. So benching Guardiola makes sense this game week, and I'm doing it myself. When it comes to Saka, I think that if you have a decent option on your bench, you should probably bench Saka. There's a big chance that he only plays 20-30 minutes, as we saw in game week 31, but for my team, I actually like 30 minutes from Saka better than Jared Bowen and West Ham playing against Liverpool. Got triple captain active on Alexander Isak because can't see any better weeks remaining. Yeah, I think that a fit Alexander Isak with 2 home fixtures probably going to be the best option for triple captain. So my plan for the rest of the season is to play the triple captain this game week, bench boost next game week, and then free hit in blank game week 34, and use my transfers to navigate the double game week 36 and blank game week 37. I think that my team is already pretty well set for the double in game week 36, so we know that it's probably going to be Man City playing 2 times, possibly Bournemouth as well, so we'll potentially use a transfer to bring in 1 or 2 Bournemouth players ahead of double game week 36. But when it comes to triple captain, I think that it's probably best to play this game week on a fit Alexander Isak with 2 home fixtures. So Man City will probably have a double in game week 36. Marmoush is an option. If Haaland wasn't injured, I would probably consider saving my triple captain. But yeah, as mentioned, Alexander Isak, he is fit and he has 2 home fixtures, so I really believe that he can do well in double game week 32. Would you start Saliba over Marmoush? I have Munoz. Yeah, possibly. Of course, in any other game week, I would play the attacker, but it might be worth the risk just benching Marmoush, maximizing the potential for points, hoping that Crystal Palace can keep a clean sheet, and Saliba, actually decent fixture. And as mentioned, I think that Saliba will benefit, especially on set pieces now with Gabriel out. We have seen this a couple of times, even this season when Gabriel was injured. Saliba scored a couple of goals, and we saw this last season as well. So I will probably transfer Saliba in next game week in double game week 33. Anderson to Saliba. I'll talk more about this in my upcoming team selection video, but I don't hate the idea of benching Marmoush. If I had a better option than Jared Bowen against Liverpool, I would probably bench Marmoush myself. So I'm actually quite tempted to sell Marmoush. Last night I started to think that in double game week 33 I would want Watkins. Marmoush to Watkins could potentially be a transfer for me, but I think I might as well just wait and sell Alexander Isak next game week. So Isak to Watkins ahead of double game week 33. Feels awful having Guardiola, Marmoush, and Savinho all on the bench with a pretty decent fixture. Yeah. I get that, especially Man City playing at home. It doesn't really make sense to have them on the bench, but most of us already have a triple up from Crystal Palace, and that makes sense as well. They have back-to-back double game weeks, so if you have Guardiola, Marmoush, and Savinho on the bench, that could be potentially be a really, really good bench boost, to be honest. Vukic, I have Nico Williams currently on the bench. Should I sub him in for Guardiola or Savinho? I would definitely start Nico Williams ahead of Guardiola. I'm doing the same. So Williams starting for me. Decent fixture at home against Everton, and I don't have any Everton attackers in my team at the moment. So makes sense to play Nico Williams, and Guardiola is on my bench because I have both Esse and Mateta. So yeah, Vukic, I would definitely play Nico Williams ahead of Guardiola. Orange Apple, I think I'm going to start Marmoush over Saliba. I just can't see Arsenal keeping a clean sheet unless you can persuade me. The thing is that Marmoush, if you bench him, he can, of course, potentially get a brace against Crystal Palace. It's Man City, and we know that he will start. So to be honest, I'm starting Marmoush. We know that Haaland is injured. Marmoush could potentially be on penalties. So I'm not going to try to persuade you about playing Saliba ahead of Marmoush. It kind of makes sense, but Marmoush has the potential to do really well. So it's not that Crystal Palace are top of the league and the best team, but we have that triple up because they have back-to-back doubles. So we're hoping that they can deliver, but of course Crystal Palace can lose against Man City on the Etihad. So yeah, play Marmoush, bench Saliba, and you'll have Saliba ready for Arsenal's double next game week. 1 hour and 4 minutes left until the deadline. So 10 minutes ago, I talked about Brighton. If you want to take a punt ahead of double game week 32, if you're already tripled up on Crystal Palace and Newcastle, I think that Brighton assets are really interesting. They are the bookies' favorites to keep a clean sheet. Of course, after Newcastle have been given 55% chance, while Brighton 14-9. So pretty close, even though Brighton only have this one fixture. So of course we know Leicester is in really, really bad form. So Orange Apple, best of luck this week, lad. Sadly got to head off. Best of luck to you as well. Thanks for joining in as always, and have a nice weekend. We're getting close to the 1 hour mark, 1 hour and 2 minutes. As mentioned, of course, if you need to make a transfer, Crystal Palace assets are in favor right now. They have a double game week this game week, and they have a double next game week as well. So back-to-back double game weeks for Crystal Palace makes sense to triple up on their assets. They're reasonably priced, great form as well. Mateta on penalties, Esse on most set pieces, and Munoz a really attacking defender. So if you don't have those players already, I recommend to bring them in. When it comes to Newcastle, they have a double 2 home fixtures this game week, and they also have a game in blank game week 34. So if you're not using your free hits, I would actually prioritize getting a triple up on Newcastle. If you already triple up on both of those teams and want to make a transfer this game week, I really like Brighton and their home fixture against Leicester. Alexander Isak is ahead in the captain poll, 83%. Mateta 17, pretty close. Pretty close between the others. That's because Salah and other have got no votes, of course. So Alexander Isak is the favorite. He will probably be my triple captain this season. It's active, triple captain active on Alexander Isak, so hopefully he can do well in those home fixtures against Man United and Crystal Palace. My transfer this game week was Jacob Murphy in. I sold Mbumo, so this kind of leads me on a path to where I will probably use my free hits in blank game week 34. Next game week, I'll probably sell Alexander Isak to bring in Watkins. I'll probably sell Murphy as well. It might be 2 transfers, maybe even a hit next game week to take advantage of double game week 33. But I'll talk more about this in my team selection video. We'll record it probably tomorrow, so if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. Murphy is also the most transferred in assets ahead of double game week 32. My plan was always to get Gordon, but he is injured, so it had to be Murphy for me as well. Kind of lame actually that he scored a brace last game week, so of course this has really piqued FPL managers' interest in Murphy, so it's not that big of a differential as it could have been, but of course still a really good asset for double game week 32. Mateta is the second most transferred in. Kluivert, Aina, Wood, most sold players ahead of this game week. So there actually has been a lot of transfer activity since last night. I had a Q&A last night, but the transfer in numbers were around 200,000k, but now it's getting close to 800,000 transfers in for Jacob Murphy. So close to 1 million new owners ahead of Newcastle's 2 fixtures against Man United and Crystal Palace. As mentioned, Jacob Murphy might transfer this game week as well. As sold Mbumo to bring in Jacob Murphy. Triple up on Crystal Palace, triple up also on Newcastle. My bench this game week will be Guardiola. I know that benching a Man City defender that's close to nailed on with a home fixture doesn't really make sense, but if you have one or two attacking Crystal Palace assets, it totally makes sense to bench Guardiola this game week. So if you have another decent defender on your bench, my advice would be to take a punt and bench Guardiola. Jared Bowen, I think actually that I'm going to put Jared Bowen first on my bench. So Jared Bowen first bench, Guardiola second, Anderson last on my bench. I will probably transfer Anderson out, especially if I go for the tactic with the free hit in game week, blank game week 34. Fulham, they have a decent fixture in blank game week 34. This was actually one of the reasons why I picked Anderson on my game week 28 wildcard, but I think that I want to take advantage of double game week 33 by bringing in a couple of Arsenal assets next game week. I already have Raya and Saka, of course, but tripling up on Arsenal will probably bring in Saliba and possibly Watkins as well. Alexander Isak to Watkins, Anderson to Saliba will potentially be my transfers ahead of double game week 33. And if I do this, I will definitely play my free hit in blank game week 34. So my chip strategy at the moment, triple captain this game week, bench boost in double game week 33, and free hit in blank game week 34. Let's have a quick look over at X to see if there are any interesting news ahead of the deadline. Charlie, I'm getting a late urge from Harvey Barnes. I actually looked up the stats. I started to do some graphics for my next team selection video, and Harvey Barnes actually has done pretty well. Only thing with Harvey Barnes is that he will probably be the one that will be subbed off if Anthony Gordon will get some minutes. So Harvey Barnes, I think, is definitely nailed on for Newcastle's first game, but possibly Anthony Gordon is ready to start against Crystal Palace. So I think that there is a risk involved. I think Alexander Isak, Jacob Murphy actually are the two most nailed on players in Newcastle's attack at the moment. But as mentioned, Harvey Barnes, he has done pretty well. Of course, Jacob Murphy, he was the one who stole the headlines with a brace last game week, but Harvey Barnes could easily be the one delivering points against Man United. The thing is, at some point we know Anthony Gordon will be fit and Harvey Barnes will be the one that has to make way for the England international. But Harvey Barnes had something like 2.40 expected goal involvement, actually better than Alexander Isak in the last 4 game weeks. Jacob Murphy, after his brace, is the Newcastle attacker with the best attacking stats, but I think that he was a bit lucky in game week 31, so I really like Gordon, but Murphy is definitely the safest option at the moment. It seems so dumb to sell Pope though to accommodate him, but if Barnes scores well and replacements keep a clean sheet, I think I'll basically be matching Pope plus Barnes points. Yeah. I think that maybe Verbruggen is a decent option this game week. Brighton for a 9% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Leicester, really terrible form. Maybe Verbruggen is better than Pope, actually. Especially because this frees up another spot for another Newcastle attacker. But selling Pope to bring in Harvey Barnes, not really sure, to be honest. I did something similar with Crystal Palace. I actually had Henderson, picked Henderson on my game week 28 wildcard, but ahead of game week 31, I actually sold Henderson to bring in Raya. And after selling Henderson, I was able to bring in Mateta. But bringing in Mateta makes more sense. We know that he probably will start most games for the rest of the season, while Harvey Barnes, yeah, we know that he possibly will play against Man United, but could easily be benched against Crystal Palace if Anthony Gordon is ready. Okay, I think I'll lock in or roll the. I think rolling the transfer makes more sense. I'll probably aim to bring in another Arsenal player ahead of double game week 33. Decent fixtures, one of them including a game against Ipswich, so yeah, for me it makes sense to just roll, keep Pope, have that transfer ready to take advantage of double game week 33. There's also an option, of course, to take a look at Aston Villa assets. They have a really good fixture this game week against Southampton. We know that they have 2 fixtures in double game week 32. Not the best fixtures, but a double game week is a double game week. So, of course, Crystal Palace, tough fixtures for them as well, playing 2 away fixtures against Newcastle and Man City, of course. But as mentioned, a double game week is a double game week. So I don't usually prefer having triple ups, but next game week I will potentially have 3 triple ups: Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and Arsenal. Really close to have 4 triple ups. I have 2 Man City players as well, so I think in the run-in, when we know the fixtures and the doubles and the blanks, having a triple up is not the worst thing. Let's have a look. Good morning. Do you think Solanke will start? Solanke, haven't really seen any news about Solanke today. Quick look in the Spurs forum. Haven't seen any news about Solanke missing out, so I think that he will start against Wolves. Decent fixture for Spurs that playing away against Wolves. So if you have Solanke, I'd say just start him. I think that the problem with Solanke and Spurs is that Solanke, he is playing as their number 9, but spends so much energy pressing the opponent without any results. So I think that he is getting a bit frustrated and a bit tired as well. So when he receives the ball, he don't have the energy to deliver any attacking output. So but of course, we know that if Solanke gets the chances, he will probably deliver. And if Wolves go all out attack against Spurs, we know that they will have a couple of counter attacks as well. So yeah, start Solanke for Spurs fixture against Wolves, definitely. So I wouldn't consider transferring Solanke in, but if you have him in your team, it makes sense to start him. So the bookies predictions: Alexander Isak 68, Cole Palmer against Ipswich 51, and Mo Salah 49. In the captain poll, Alexander Isak is the favorite, Mateta and another captain option. No votes for Salah so far. Do you believe that playing two Palace defenders is a bad decision? I think that tripling up on Crystal Palace makes sense, and if you don't have any available attacking spots, then doubling up on their defense is just fine. I would, of course, prefer having a double up on their attack with Sar SA together with Mateta, but if you don't have any available attacking spots, I would consider bringing in and doubling up on their defense. The thing is that they have a double this game week, and we know that they will have 2 fixtures in double game week 34 as well, so that's 4 fixtures. There is, of course, a chance that they keep a clean sheet, but they will get at least 4 points, right? In theory, they will get 4 points, close to a clean sheet in a single game week. So double Crystal Palace, especially if one of them is Munoz, who has a big chance of getting attacking returns as well. So that's 4 games, probably 4 starts for Munoz. So yeah. Alternatively, I can play Saliba or Konsa. I think that if you have a double Palace defense, I would just play both of them this game week. Of course, Saliba playing at home against Brentford. Decent fixture for our... It's the main man, so I will probably consider bringing in Saliba next game week. My dilemma is Konsa, Saliba or Lacroix. I would start Lacroix, to be honest. And Glasner, he told us that he is fit, so he will probably start both games in double game week 32. Probably had this question a few times, but Guardiola or Konsa. Actually, I had these Guardiola questions a couple of times today, but I really think that benching Guardiola this game week makes sense, especially if you have a triple up on Crystal Palace, and most of us have attacking assets from Crystal Palace. So in addition, I think that Guardiola last couple of game weeks haven't really played that attacking as we saw at the start of the season, end of last season. So he's playing more centrally like a centre back, not joining the attack as we used to see Guardiola. So I think that the potential for attacking returns are limited with how Man City line up these days. So benching Guardiola makes sense this game week. So at the start of the stream, I got these messages that YouTube are not receiving enough video to maintain the stream. Got this message again, so really sorry if the connection is bad. Not really sure how to fix it, to be honest. I think it's probably something with my internet provider. Hopefully the connection is better. I can see there's something wrong with my camera as well. A lot of technical issues this stream. Hopefully I'll sort it out ahead of next game week, but it is what it is. It's 34 minutes until deadline. Hopefully screen is not going black all of a sudden. So Matthias, then would you start Solanke or Lacroix? Oh, I'm really weak for a double game week player. I think I would actually start Lacroix this game week ahead of Solanke, even though I talked about Spurs and their fixture against Wolves. I think that there are chances for Solanke in this game, but as mentioned, Solanke, he hasn't looked that great recently, and I read something on the Spurs forum midweek about him needing a rest. The thing is with how Spurs play, really aggressive, and Solanke doing a lot of pressing up front doesn't really suit his style of play. I think that he was more natural in the position he played at Bournemouth last season. Like more of a classic number 9 staying in the box, waiting for crosses. It's not been like this after he joined Spurs. But of course, playing up front for an attacking Spurs side against Wolves, kind of a tough decision, but as mentioned, I would probably just play the one with 2 fixtures. I know the fixtures are not that great for Crystal Palace, but we know that in theory a double game week means 4 points just for appearance, so they also have the chance to keep a clean sheet or of course attacking returns. Lacroix, he has some attacking potential on set pieces as well, so yeah, I would start him. My team is Martinez, Raya, Guardiola, Saliba, Munoz, Livramento, Kirkis, Sar, Murphy, Palmer, Salah, Rogers, Marmouche, Mateta, and Alexander Isak. Should I triple captain this week and bench boost next week? That's a really strong team. I think that Alexander Isak is a really good option for triple captain. We know that he's fit, 2 home games. So I would use my triple captain this game week and bench boost next week. So this is actually my plan. I'm using my triple captain on Alexander Isak this game week. Next game week, I will potentially bring in another Arsenal asset, possibly Watkins as well. So my plan at the moment is to sell Alexander Isak to bring in Watkins and sell Anderson to bring in Saliba and use my bench boost next game week. So you could do something similar another way. Triple captain Alexander Isak this game week. Potentially actually sell him and get in Watkins with 2 fixtures. You'll have a really strong team next game week, Rogers and Watkins. I will probably consider selling Murphy next game week as well. Could go either way, of course. But I think that both double game week 32 and double game week 33 will be high scoring game weeks. So think a bench boost in either game week will be fine, but I would prefer saving the bench boost for double game week 34. It also makes sense this game week there are only 2 teams with a double, while next game week there are 4 teams with 2 fixtures. So this game week you can just bench Guardiola, Kirkis, and probably has to be Rodgers, even though Aston Villa have a good fixture. So Rodgers first bench, then Kirkis and Guardiola. What should be my bench in order? Actually, started sorting your bench before reading the question, but yeah, of course there is a slight risk in benching Rodgers, but Palmer against Ipswich, Salah is Salah, Jacob Murphy with 2 fixtures, so I would probably start Rodgers, bench Marmoush. I'm sorry I told you to bench Rodgers. Forgot about Marmoush, especially seeing you have Munoz. Would make sense to just bench Marmoush. So Marmoush first bench, and then Kirkis and Guardiola. So some minutes ago, we just discussed in the chat about benching Man City options. I think it makes sense this game week, even though they play at the Etihad against Crystal Palace. We know that Man City can easily beat Crystal Palace, but if you're tripled up on Crystal Palace, you might as well take a risk and hope that Crystal Palace does well against the champions. So Marmoush and Guardiola on the bench. Of course, potentially you can have a lot of bench points, but your team is really, really strong, so the potential for benching points this game week is, of course, big. Whoever you put on your bench, to be honest. So yeah, to summarize, that was a lot of words just for saying that I would put Marmoush, Guardiola, and Kirkis on my bench this game week. "26 minutes until the deadline. Hopefully the connection is better. Still getting warnings from YouTube about them not receiving enough video to maintain decent quality on the stream, so sorry if there still are some issues with the connection, but hopefully we can ride it out. 26 minutes left. When talking about benching Marmoush, I actually thought about selling Marmoush this game week to bring in Watkins. I really like Aston Villa and their fixture against Southampton, but I want Marmoush next game week, so we'll just wait. If I had a better option on my bench than Jared Bowen, I would bench Marmoush myself, but I fancy having Marmoush against Crystal Palace, even though I have a Munoz. Jared Bowen against Liverpool. I could potentially bench Marmoush and play Jared Bowen. Neto, of course, is a weak link in my midfield, but I really liked what I saw from Pedro Neto last 30 minutes in game week 31. Played really well. So I think that he will start this game week, and Chelsea have a really good fixture at home against Ipswich. So Neto will start. Saka, of course, he is a minute's risk this game week. Might start on the bench. S.A. Murphy nailed on for me. The same goes for Mateta and Alexander Isak. Let's have a quick look over at X. Peter, my team is Verbruggen, Kepa, Milenkovic, Ait Nouri, Munoz, Robinson, Fambisaka, Saka, Murphy, Bowen, Salah, Rogers, Marmoush, Mateta, and Alexander Isak. What transfers would you recommend for game week 33? So you have a really strong team. Let's take a look at who you should bench. In this team, Fambisaka on the bench together with Ait Nouri. Verbruggen, really good fixture, so he should start. Brighton actually are the second team on the bookies predictions for expected clean sheets for game week 32. So Verbruggen in goal, start Milenkovic, Munoz of course, start Robinson as well, Ait Nouri, Wan-Bissaka on the bench. Last player on the bench should potentially be Jared Bowen. I'm doing it myself. Jared Bowen, tough fixture against Liverpool. One option is to sell Robinson and bring in Schär or maybe Dan Burn, Livramento possibly, to take advantage of Newcastle's 2 home fixtures this game week. So would sell Wan-Bissaka, Ait Nouri or Robinson to bring in and triple up on Newcastle. I have Trippier. He's the most expensive option. We know that he is on set pieces, but Livramento, Dan Burn and Schär are good options as well. Are you benching Guardiola? Yes, I'm definitely benching Guardiola this game week. Playing against Crystal Palace, and I have 2 attacking assets from Crystal Palace. Close to 3 attacking assets. We can potentially say that Munoz is an attacking asset. So the reasoning for benching Guardiola is, of course, my triple up on Crystal Palace, and also the fact that Guardiola haven't been that attacking recently. Actually, he has really bad attacking stats when we compare the last 4 game weeks to what he did before Christmas and especially at the end of last season. So Guardiola will be on my bench. I know that it doesn't really look good benching a Man City nailed on player playing at the Etihad, but yeah, the reason is that I'm triple up on Crystal Palace and the fact that Guardiola hasn't been that attacking recently. $18 until the deadline. Hopefully the connection is fine. I'm actually not receiving those messages from YouTube about them not receiving enough video. So hopefully the connection is fine at the moment. Hopefully it will be for the remaining 18 minutes. My transfer this game week, I sold Mbumo to bring in Murphy, taking advantage of double game week 32 by tripling up on both Newcastle and Crystal Palace. My plan going forward is potentially to play my bench boosts in double game week 33 and then free hit in blank game week 34. The triple captain is active. Alexander Isak triple captaincy for Newcastle's 2 home games this game week, playing at home against Man United and at home against Crystal Palace. The thing is, one of the reasons why I will bench Guardiola is that this game week I already, and most of us already, have some of our attackers playing against our defenders. So Mateta will play against Trippier, Alexander Isak will play against Munoz, and this is of course the last game in double game week 32. So to maximize the points potential, I'm benching Guardiola and hoping that Mateta, SA and Crystal Palace can score against Man City. Benching headache is crazy at the moment. There are a lot of benching dilemmas going around. I know that there will be a lot playing their bench boost this game week. I will save it. I like my team even better next game week, so I don't really like Areola against Liverpool. Jared Bowen playing in that fixture as well, so I don't think Saka starts. I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't really think that Saka will start. If I had a better option on my bench, I could potentially bench Saka this game week. I think he will get similar minutes compared to game week 31. Hopefully he can play 45 minutes and do something against Brentford. We know that he is on penalties when he plays, so hopefully Arsenal can get a penalty and Saka score another goal. But as mentioned, if I had a better option on my bench than Jared Bowen against Liverpool, I could potentially bench Saka this game week. So hopefully Saka can build up his minutes. He is a potential captain candidate next game week. Arsenal, they will play twice. We also know that Man City, Aston Villa and Crystal Palace will have a double game week as well. So there are a lot of good captain options next game week. And Saka is one of them. Yeah, I have Savinho starting over Saka, but nervous. Could go either way, of course. But yeah, if I had Savinho, I would probably play him ahead of Saka. I'm actually a bit tempted to start Jared Bowen, to be honest. Maybe it's only 13 minutes left, but maybe there will be a late switch for my team. Saka dropping to the bench, Jared Bowen coming in. So would you start Bowen or Saka? Liverpool not in their best form, conceded 3 goals against Fulham last game week. Maybe I should just bench Saka and play Jared Bowen. 12 minutes left. Need to make a decision about Saka, Bowen. I think Neto is nailed on for me this game week. Like what I saw from Neto, he was benched in game week 31, but he came on, looked really lively. In the 30 minutes he got in game week 31. Of course, SA, Jacob Murphy, 2 fixtures, so they will start. Same goes for Alexander Isak and Mateta. Marmoush is actually... I will play Marmoush. He will start potentially on penalties now with Haaland out. So Marmoush will start. It's between Saka and Jared Bowen. The thing with Marmoush is that he will play against my defender. So I'm starting Munoz, and Munoz playing against Marmoush. And this is one of the reasons why I'm benching Guardiola, to avoid having so many of my attackers playing against my defenders and vice versa. So Guardiola on the bench. The question for me last 10 minutes will be start Saka or start Jared Bowen. Areola will definitely be on my bench. Raya will start. Trippier, Williams, Munoz in defense. My only decision to make is actually to play Saka or Jared Bowen. Put a question up on X as well to see what the FPL community thinks about the Saka and Bowen decision. Peter, would you transfer Ait Nouri or Robinson to a Newcastle defender for a -4? I'd say yes. Yeah, I take the risk. So in theory, the -4 is because of appearance points only a -2. So if you bring in especially Trippier or Schär, I think that a -4 is warranted. They have attacking threat in addition to, of course, the chance of keeping a clean sheet. So I would probably do Robinson to Schär. Eight minutes left. Let's have a quick look. Over at X posted a question. Start Saka or Jared Bowen? Saka. So I instantly got two answers over at X. One of them is Saka, and of course, the next answer is Jared Bowen. So if you haven't done so already, go, of course, subscribe to this channel while you're here, but head over to X and give me a follow on that platform as well. Posting weekly tips and having FPL discussions on that platform as well. So yeah, let me know and I'll follow back on X. But for now, I need to focus on my own team. 7 minutes left. Start Saka or Bowen. I'm waiting for a couple of more answers. Alexander Isak is on top in the captain poll, 89%. So Alexander Isak, he will probably be heavily captain this game week. I know that a lot have already used their triple captain, so can't really see his effective ownership going above 150, but it will be close. Hello, Jeff. Thanks for joining in. Are you ready for double game week 32? I actually just realized I'm not ready myself. I have a decision to make. Should I start Saka or Jared Bowen? Saka is rumored to start on the bench, while Jared Bowen, he has a really tough fixture against Liverpool. Start 2 of Rodgers, Konsa, Saliba, Guardiola, Semenyo. I would definitely start Rodgers, and I would, seeing you have Raya in goal, I would start Rodgers and Konsa, taking advantage of Aston Villa's good fixture against Southampton. So yeah, Rodgers, Konsa, Saliba, Guardiola, Semenyo on the bench. I'm benching Guardiola myself. I think that it makes sense to bench Guardiola. Hasn't been that attacking recently, and most of us have attacking assets from Crystal Palace. So yeah, bench Guardiola, Semenyo, and Saliba. So let me know, Jeff, do you think I should start Jared Bowen or Saka? Slightly worried about rotation. Yeah, I'm slightly worried about Saka's minutes as well. So I think that there will be a couple of managers getting disappointed, considering there will be a lot using their bench boosts this game week. I think there will be a lot of rotation. So yeah, I'm saving my bench boost for double game week 33 and using my triple captain this game week. So my triple captain is active. It's on Alexander Isak. I like Mateta as well, but I've actually talked about triple captaining Alexander Isak since game week 20. So can't really chicken out. Eddie Howe said that he is fit. 2 home games, so yeah, decent week for the triple captain. Bowen or Saka. Okay, let's have a quick look over at X to see if I had any more replies. Start Bowen, Saka benched. Jared Bowen. Saka first bench, Jared Bowen in. Tough fixture, of course. Playing away against Liverpool can't be much worse considering fixture difficulty rating, but Liverpool, they conceded 3 goals last game week against Fulham, so yeah. All of a sudden I have a really strong bench. Saka, Guardiola. This can potentially go horribly wrong. But I like my team as it is. Raya, I have a player in the late game tonight. Arsenal against Brentford. Raya will start. 2 defenders with double. Trippier and Munoz and Nico Williams will start for me against Everton. Neto, decent fixture against Ipswich. Did not start in game week 31, but he came on and played well, so I think Neto will start. Jared Bowen, I just transferred Jared Bowen in. He's been sitting on my bench all week. Saka dropped to the bench. Hopefully I will not regret this decision. So Esse and Mateta, Murphy and Alexander Isak, definitely starters for my team. They have a double game week. Marmouche as well, playing against Munoz, so it's not ideal, but I think Marmouche is nailed on. Holland is injured, so Marmouche is potentially on penalties. Jared Bowen, we know that he plays out of position as West Ham's number 9. I think that Fulkrug potentially can start, but hopefully Jared Bowen is still second in line after Paqueta on this for West Ham. So yeah, top fixture for Jared Bowen. 1 minute left. Should I keep Jared Bowen in my starting 11 or put Saka back in? I think that Saka potentially will start on the bench tonight, so we might see the same as we saw in game week 31. I will regret starting Jared Bowen if Saka does something, but yeah, might as well take the risk, play Jared Bowen. Hopefully Liverpool West Ham will be a fun game. Triple captain locked in. Only 20 seconds left. Time to make those last decisions. Lock in your captain. There we go. Deadline. So, if you had any last transfers or substitutions in your team, hopefully you made it. So this is my team for double game with 32. Late switch. Saka dropped to the bench. Jared Bowen, he came in. So Ryan goal, Trippier and Munoz. Nico Williams. In midfield, Neto, Jared Bowen, Esse, and Jacob Murphy. And up top, Alexander Isak, Mateta, and Marmouche. This means that I'll have a strong bench this game week. Saka at home against Brentford, Guardiola at home against Crystal Palace, and Anderson. So my plan going forward is to play my bench boost next game week. I'm really excited for the game to update so I can take a look at my team. I will potentially sell Alexander Isak to bring in Watkins and potentially Jacob Murphy as well. I wanted to triple up on Arsenal, so Anderson to Saliba will probably be one of my transfers as well. So subscribe to the channel. I'll post my weekly team selection video on Monday. So best of luck for double game week 32 and have a nice week.